there. Welcome back to Best Kept Secrets. I'm your host, Lele Pons. And you know what? It's crazy. I heard this thing this week. I thought it was like insane. I mean, listen to this. People apparently miss flying so much that airlines are now offering flights to nowhere. Yeah, like literally nowhere, and tickets are selling out. For example, you take off and you land at the same airport. They're like sightseeing tours. They're running in Australia and parts of Asia. And the airline in Australia is offering a 7-hour flight across Australia and are soon going to be offering a flight across Antarctica. The article I read interviewed 3 people who said that they just missed being on a plane. I mean, I don't know and I'm not convinced, but if I had to deal with being in an airport, there better be a vacation at the end of it. But that's just me. I don't know about you guys, but I hate flying. I mean, I love traveling, but flying? I don't like that.
The following content contains adult subject matter, including sensitive material, and is intended for adult consumption only. It may not be suitable for all audiences. Therefore, discretion is advised. Lele Pons is not a trained expert, but is using her personal experiences to create a space for sensitive discussions.
Right now, today, we have a fun show lined up for you guys today. First up, I'm going to be talking to our first caller, which is Milena, and her dad actually is obsessed with playing dolls. I mean, we're going to get a little bit deeper into that before our second call with April, which is actually very relatable. And like a lot of us, April has been, trying to figure out and navigate her way through dating during COVID while still looking out for her best friend. But now she's reached a point that she doesn't know which way to turn. And that being said, we've got a lot to talk about today, so let's not waste another minute. Let's get into our first caller with Milena. Hey, Milena, how are you? Did I get your name right?
Yeah, you got it.
So we're dying to know, what is your best kept secret?
Yeah, my best kept secret is one that has been festering since I was about 3 years old, I would say.
3?
My dad, yeah. My dad.
And how old are you now?
I'm 21. So, yeah, it's been, like, growing, yeah. My dad and I used to play with dolls together, like, all the time. I loved it. Like, the second he would get home from work, I'd be begging him to play with me. But as I got older and, like, kind of outgrew playing with dolls, my dad did not. So my dad still has all of the dolls and, like, is still obsessed with them and interacts with them.
Maybe, you know what, maybe it's a reminder of, like, when you were a little girl and he doesn't want to let that go.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think it is. He has them, like, all spread out around his house. He sent me a picture the other day, and yeah, like, all 30 of them are still there.
What kind of dolls are these? Like Barbies?
No, not Barbie dolls. Most of them are, like, the ones that from, like, the elbow down, they're plastic, and then they have a plush stomach.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know.
They're like baby dolls. Some of them are porcelain, but most of them are like plasticky, your average doll.
So this can be many things. This can be what we said. Maybe he just doesn't want to let go, and that's what he's keeping on to remind him of you.
Yeah.
And another thing could be that's an obsession. Mm-hmm. He likes to collect things. That's something he likes to collect.
He told me that when he was little, he had a dancing doll that, like, he would dance and it would, like, mimic his dance movements, and his brother, like, broke his dancing doll. I know, right? But, so he had a doll when he was little, so maybe, I don't know, maybe he was always obsessed with dolls, but in my mind, it started when I was 3. But maybe it started before then. I'm not really sure.
Maybe when you were 2, I don't think you remember stuff.
That's true. That's
probably.
True.
So maybe he was doing it since you were, like, born.
When I was, like, 3 or 4, I, like, one of my favorite doll, and I think it's my dad's favorite too. His name is Boy. It's a male doll named Boy. And I went to my and I was like, my dada thinks Boy is real, but I know he isn't, but my dada thinks he is. So I was, like, genuinely concerned as a young child that, like, my dad thought that they were real.
Did you ever ask why you're obsessed with dolls? Yeah.
No, I've never asked him because, like, it brings him so much joy. I personally think it's him, like, not wanting to let go of my childhood and, like, not wanting me to grow up.
Yeah.
So there were, like, some moments when I kind of vocalized that I was over the dolls, but I never really pushed him to stop because I could tell how happy it made him, and I didn't want to, take that away from him.
So it was like a reverse. It was like you were the dad and he was the little girl.
Maybe a little bit.
What are some of the other dolls' names and personalities?
Yeah. So each one has a personality. Boy is obsessed with girls. So like sometimes my dad would bring Boy to like a restaurant, and Boy would hit on the hostesses at the restaurant.
Whoa.
And then there was Bubba. Bubba was obsessed with like beating me at everything. She was kind of like my arch nemesis type. There was one named
this is
Giant.
So scary sometimes.
Yeah. There was one named Giant, and he's obsessed with food. There's like 30 of them.
Oh my god, this sounds like a horror. I'm sorry. This sounds, like when a horror when the horror movies, like the little kid's like, he doesn't like you very much, like the doll or something like that. Yeah. And you're like, what did he say? He's like, he said you should go, like, like, so it's like, I don't know, did he do voices?
Yeah. He did. He would like, if the dolls were talking, what he would do is he'd like hold the doll up so that his mouth was to the back of the doll's head. He would just like talk through them, if that makes any sense.
I just want to know, what did your mom think about this?
Oh yeah, she was not a fan. Didn't love it. I think that, for a while it was like cute because I loved playing with them, but then like
I'm just very curious. Can you do one voice that you remember your dad doing?
Sure.
From the doll?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Giant. Hey, Dad, can you take me to the restaurant so I can get, like, 2 large pizzas, a rack of ribs, a cheeseburger?
Oh, my God. No way. Wait, and would he do, like, girl voices, too?
No, they kind of all sounded... They all had, like, a deep voice. I don't know why. Yeah, he didn't do a girl voice. They all kind of sounded similar, but they all had different personalities.
Can you do one more? The Baba, I think you said? Baba?
Baba, yeah. I'm involved with theater, so Bubba was always, like, one-upping me. So let's say I was in the ensemble of a musical. He'd be like, guess what, Milena? Like, I got the role of Belle, and you're just in the ensemble. Like, I'm so much better than you.
And that your dad would be the voice and tell you that?
Yeah. But it was, like, a joke. I thought it was funny. Like, he always told me that he believed in me and I was talented. Like, it was never... Bubba never actually offended me. It was all in good fun.
Were the dolls all over the house or in a room specifically?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So initially they were in, we called it like the playroom. It's like where we would go and like play games, board games, whatever we wanted to play. But then my parents got divorced when I turned 16, and my grandma lived with me my whole life, but my mom and my grandma moved out, and then my grandma's bedroom became the doll room.
Oh, okay.
So once they moved out, there were dolls like lined up, like my grandma's whole like queen size bed was just like filled with rows of dolls.
Did you ever hide them from your friends when they would come over?
Sometimes. Like, my closest friends, like, eventually would find out about them because my dad would bring it up in front of them. But oftentimes, if I was having someone new over, I, like, wouldn't want them to know. So I would just, like, close the door to that room and then, like, almost...
Like a boy.
Yeah.
What about if a boy came over?
Yeah, oh yeah. This one time, a boy came over and yeah, I like closed that door, and like the second you would enter the house, like if you were standing straight ahead, you would be staring like right into the room where the dolls were. So I closed that door, but before he came inside, my dad just opened it right back up.
Oh no.
And so he like saw all of them. It was pretty awkward. My dad, he had like a couple doll beds, like little tiny ones for the dolls. And he asked this guy that I had over to help him put them together. So this guy, it's like his first time at my house, and he's like building doll beds with my dad.
Did you ever tell your dad that he was embarrassing you?
Sometimes, but once again, like I hate confrontation. I'm just like not a confrontational person. And I feel like over time I got like so used to it that like I was like, well, it doesn't even faze me anymore. Like it's like beyond being embarrassed, because like I've dealt with so many weird situations regarding it that like it's just easier to not get embarrassed at this point. But there were definitely moments of embarrassment growing up. Yeah.
Like, you think your dad, when you were, like, probably with about to kiss a guy, one of the dolls would be like, hey.
He'd be like, hey, don't kiss my sister. Because I was, the dolls were my siblings.
Oh. Okay.
I'm an only child,
Are you an only
by
child?
the way. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe he wanted to have more kids.
Maybe.
I am too.
Honestly, it's possible.
I was obsessed.
You're an only child too?
Yeah, I was obsessed with dolls.
Okay, yeah.
Like
my parents actually couldn't have more kids after me. Even if they wanted to. So that's actually interesting. I've never thought of that, but that's possible.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why, because maybe he wanted more, he couldn't, and maybe he didn't want you to be alone, so he like created many siblings for you.
Yeah, maybe. You know? He definitely made it so that I was never alone. I had like 30 siblings.
Good for you. And does he still have that room? The doll room?
Well, he moved now. So like he no longer lives in that house. He lives in a 1-bedroom apartment, and now since he lives alone, the dolls are in the living room on the couch.
Wait, so are you worried that he will give them back to you and then you'll be stuck with them?
This is pretty funny. So I actually I have a boyfriend who he knows about the dolls. Took me a really long time to tell him. I didn't tell him until he was coming home to my house and I knew he was going to see them.
How do you tell your boyfriend that? My dad's obsessed with dolls.
You just tell him. You just let it out because there's no way to prepare somebody for that sort of weird, so quirky funny information to be dropped on them. But one time my boyfriend and I kind of got in an argument about, he was just making a joke. It was not a nice joke, but he was like, yeah, what if I cut off one of their heads? And I got so defensive. God. He was just kidding. He would never. But I was like, I would break up with you. I know. But my reaction, I got really upset. And I was like,
because they're your siblings.
I know. But I was I thought that it was more my dad's obsession than mine. But then I was crying and I was like, oh my, why am I having such a reaction to this? My boyfriend was totally kidding. He would never do anything to upset me like that. But it was just
wow.
It was very odd.
Are they always the same dolls? Right? Are they always the same dolls, or are you buying new ones each time?
We have all the same ones that I had growing up. There's been some holidays for Father's Day or my dad's birthday where I got him a doll because I knew he would like it because it reminds him of me and the way we played when I was little.
Oh, that's so nice.
But most of them, we've collected them over the years.
That's so good. I love that you have a big bond with your dad.
Yeah, we do.
I don't think
We're
any
very
girl has
close.
ever played with her dad more.
Probably not. Yeah, we played every single day, really goofy games, and they almost all involved. We called the dolls the children. That was what their name was.
Well, when you have a child and when you have a baby, you know that you're gonna have a lot of dolls for that baby. You don't have to pay at all. You don't have to get new dolls.
That's true. Yeah. I just want to be careful not to. I don't want to end up obsessed with them, but I will make sure my children have plenty of things to play with, including dolls, if I ever have kids.
Seriously, thank you so much for talking to us. This was amazing.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was so good to talk to you. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? I remember me being like that, but a dad being like that, that's definitely something new. I feel her, but I also understand an obsession with dolls because when I was a child, I stopped playing with Barbies when I was 10, and I was in middle school when I stopped, and I think that you have a connection with these dolls, especially when you're an only child like me. I felt very lonely, and probably my dad did buy me a lot of dolls to give me company. I understand why dolls are so symbolic in an only child's life. So I identify with her, and then when about the dad part, you never know. Maybe he has a hard time, letting go of the daughter. Maybe he wanted the daughter to have siblings. Maybe it is an obsession that he doesn't understand. So, and my favorite part about this story was that she's so protective of her dad. Their bond is so unique and they're always so together. And that's something that's very hard. I mean, my God, I don't think any person has played more with their dad with dolls and everything than this girl. So it's good to have a father that is so close that wants to be in your life so badly, interacts with you since you were a child. And I think that's for me the most important part of this story is the bond of this girl with her dad. Well, that was a fun call. All I know is that I 100% have to check out Milena's dad's doll room. That looks like, the place in Disney, It's a Small World After. It probably looks exactly like that. Which got me thinking, What is the craziest thing you've collected? Is there a part of the house, that you dedicate to a big collection? And if there is, I want to hear about it. So go head over to shots.com/secrets and let me know. Time for a quick break, and then we'll take our second caller. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Hey guys, if you haven't checked my interviews with Se Regalan Dudas, it's amazing and you guys should check it out. It's on their Spotify. It's called Se Regalan Dudas and I had the best time, so make sure to check it out. It's time to hear our second caller's best kept secret. Let's give them a call. Hi, April.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Just doing work as many are doing.
That's good. And are you ready to tell us your biggest, deepest secret?
Yes, I am. Okay. So I have a friend, Lily, who has been a friend of mine for 5 years now, going on the 5th year.
Okay.
And she is deadly afraid of COVID to the extent of someone I have never met before. She does not go outside basically ever unless it is a very open space. She doesn't buy groceries. She doesn't do takeout food. Everything is delivered.
That's so crazy because, at the end of the day, you can't really be like, you're taking this way out of proportion because she's kind of doing what people should be doing, maybe a little bit more, but like we obviously are calmer, but it's hard to convince her everything's okay. Because she probably sees the numbers.
Mm-hmm. She's definitely doing what you're supposed to, but I think that it's been shown that it's okay to go outside and, take a walk around, or it's okay to get groceries and then wipe them down. She just, even when she does go outside, it's gloves on, double masked, goggles. This is the extent. So she is doing what you're supposed to, but to an extent that might not be the best livable way to live your life. So basically, she's very afraid. And I was one of the only people she was seeing. She was seeing her family she lived with, and then she would see me on the weekends. We would go to the park together because I'm very COVID safe as well. I live with a older relative, and I want to make sure that I'm as safe as possible. But mid-July, I kind of finally told myself, I've been quarantined so long. I feel like parts of my life are passing by me. I'm going to maybe try to go on some dates. So I started to go kind of on social distance dates where I'd walk with people and I would still be very cautious, but I would at least see people. And at the time, I did not tell my friend because I knew that if I told her, she would no longer want to see me. Even though I was being very safe, even if I told her that, she would not want to see me.
What about if you do a COVID test and show her?
That would be fine. But since I was, seeing people on like a weekend, I couldn't keep getting COVID tests like every single week. I felt like I was taking away resources for people that actually needed it. And it would be hard to get. So I would see people and not tell her. And I felt guilty because in some ways I was like, oh my God, she's so afraid, but nothing's happening. This isn't that bad. She was overreacting. And I know that she still wants to see me. So I'm kind of like, she wants to see me. So there's no harm in that.
Yeah.
I want to see her, but I also want to see other people.
Listen, I think you should live your life as if it's the last one, the last day. And I feel like, we all have friends like that. I mean, I have someone that a Lily in my life that is like that, but that doesn't she can control herself. She can do whatever she wants, but you can also control, you can't control her, but you can control yourself. And, you've been fine all this time, right? And you've been cautious. And if you're wearing your mask and doing everything that, that everyone else is doing, that's okay, So
the problem is now, though, like at first I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm just kind of seeing people. But now the problem is I've started to actually see someone a lot more. And it's kind of my first ever relationship. And she's my best friend, but I can't tell her. So I know now that she won't just be angry with me that I was seeing people during COVID, but she will be really angry with me that I didn't tell her I was seeing someone. So now I'm wrapped up in a bunch of lies where I'm telling her I just started FaceTiming with someone like 2 weeks ago, when the truth is it's been like a month and a half of seeing this person. So it's kind of like I'm telling her the story of how I'm meeting this person later than it's actually happening. So now I just don't know if I can ever tell her that I started seeing someone, but she's my best friend.
You will tell her eventually, but when everything slows down, like when everything's better and she'll be in a better, like not that like panicky mood. I think that's when you told her and you were like, listen, I wanted to respect you. I didn't want to freak you out, and you told her like that. And you explained to her, you didn't do it in a bad way and you still wanted to see her. So I think just wait when everything comes down, but you should tell her.
Yeah, I think the problem is I need to tell her in a way that is where I don't make her know that I like lied to her, because I think that she's a person that if you cross a certain level of trust, she will hold a grudge. So I think in some ways I'll have to lighten the load in the way I tell her. Maybe tell her I saw people when I wasn't seeing you that week. And the other issue is I've told other friends. So now they have to keep the secret from her. Like I have 4 great friends and she's one of them, but the other 2 know. So it's a total mess.
It is a mess. This is very wrapped up. How long did you wait until you met this person?
So at first I did FaceTime and then I did a walk. And now I see more on like a regular basis in that person's space. Mm-hmm. So that's the part where it's like, I know she would not be okay with me going in that person's space, even though I know they're COVID safe and very much quarantining themselves. But again, it's this idea of what you said, like you have to live your life and you have to live it just to the safest you can, because we're in a time that we don't know what our future is. So you need to, experiences you want and people you want to see, you have to see them just in a safe way. But she is so wrapped up in fear that it's
unhealthy,
crippling to her.
I feel like that's even more unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that, what do they say to tell her or not to tell her?
So one of my friends said I was being selfish because she lives with an older grandfather. So therefore I was technically putting him at risk by seeing her. But she also said I knew I was being safe while seeing other people. Whereas my other friend said, yeah, you're doing the right thing in not telling her, because she is way more extreme than what is technically needed and way more fearful than what one should be. So I kind of have a mix of 2 friends where one is like, you need to tell her, and the other one is kind of like, don't tell her, like this will actually really upset her.
Yeah, I think that having friends like that is good, because then if she does get mad, these friends can tell her, listen, like this was really hard for her. You know what I mean? Like those friends have been witness of how much you feel. So you know what I mean? So your friend cannot be like, oh, she never cared. No, she did care. It was just a debate, So this girl was saying no, this girl was saying yes, and you don't want to hurt her feelings. I do think that maybe stop seeing her in person. I think that I would do that. Stop seeing her in person so she doesn't have that against you,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it's just sad. Like I want to tell her these things because that's like a big deal, like a first ever kind of relationship thing. And I know that she would want to hear that, but I just think that in the back of her mind, she'd be like, oh, so you're seeing other people. And then it's kind of like, are you picking this new person over your friend? In a way. But if they're your friend, they should understand.
Yeah, if she's your friend, she would never say that. She should be happy for you. I know you feel guilty for not telling her.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you see that she's become a little bit more open? Because she must see everybody going out.
Yeah, I've tried to help her in ways to be more open. She lives with a lot of family members. So the family members are more, I would say, concerned to the extreme, and then that changes her mindset. Like her family members won't even like touch the groceries, like she cleans them with like Lysol wipes and stuff. But I've told her, at some point you're going to have to go outside. And this is for more people. I think that these people that are so fearful now because of the media and everything, and they had a right to be fearful, but now that like things are starting to open up, they're still fearful. There's going to be a point where a lot of these people have to realize that they have to live their life where they have to go outside and they are going to have to interact with other people. And I think that transition for my friend and for others is going to be really hard because some people have become total hermits.
And that is an advice for everyone listening right now.
Yeah.
It's the truth, and yes, being healthy and safe, that's the most important, but also being excluded, like being like alone and not even going outside, that's actually very unhealthy, and we're not used to that. Humans, we need to go outside, get fresh air, you don't have to be with people, but you should go outside, walk, even like talk to someone from like, a distance, but like meet, like it's just human nature.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just reduced a little bit, but not, you can't stop living. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I'm trying to convince her kind of to go on some dates because she hasn't yet for a long time. And she's like, no, I can't. So it's also like, in a way, maybe me seeing people and putting myself back out there will hopefully get her out there too.
Yeah. And do you feel like she relies a lot on you? Is that why you don't tell her?
I think so. And because since I'm her main source of outside communication / the person she sees besides her family, she relies on me to, have fun on the weekends, like go to the park. She relies on me to go outside. And I had to go away for a weekend recently. And she texted me, when are you coming back? You're going to quarantine for 2 weeks, but then we can hang out, right? I miss you. And so I could tell that I was like, oh man, like, she really like relies on me to just get outside because I'm an excuse to kind of go into the world.
Well, thank you so much for telling this secret. I know it's probably tough on you. And I like what you said to everybody about how important it is to, go outside, not only just stay inside. And I think a lot of our listeners probably are like your friend or are like you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this was very helpful, not only to like talk about it with you, but to talk about it with all of us. I think everybody's listening very carefully to what you're saying.
Yeah, I think like people listening, like you have to live your life in the way you want it and do things that you want to do. You just have to do it in a safe manner and carefully. And just like, if you want to see people, see individuals. Don't see people in like huge groups at parties, but you can still see people and just be careful about it. But you can't stop living your life because we honestly don't know how long we have. The world is crazy.
Exactly. This is a big lesson,
Mm-hmm.
So I applaud you and I completely agree with you. And I have the same mindset. So thank you so much for sharing this. Glad someone
thinks like me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You too.
Whew, okay, this is a tough one because, it is bad luck that the fact that she got a boyfriend when this was all happening, this quarantine. I think she should tell her friend, but, I do understand people that are like Lily and they're freaking out. So I think we should wait until she's actually more calm and the situation has, calmed down, and then she should tell her. And if, the friend doesn't want to accept it and she's too mad for years and years, then, it wasn't worth it. And she deserves a friend that would understand eventually and be happy for her, not be like, oh, you picked this person over me or anything. No, because that's not how it works. So I think they should, hopefully nothing happens, but I have faith that if their friendship is strong enough, they can surpass this. To be honest, it's very, very little. And in my case, COVID has affected me, but I have been able to adapt. And I think that's what humans do. They adapt. At the beginning, I was always at home, but then slowly you were like, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I can't do. I go out, wear my mask, wash my hands. I do test every week just to see. I don't interact so much with elderly people. And that's what you have to do. I haven't seen my grandparents in a long time. And, it keeps on going until, you see the situation become better. But I still work from home. I still do that. I still go outside. I don't go to parties. I don't do that. I do go to dinners and outside, obviously, not inside, not indoor dinner. You also wear a mask, and then you ask your friends, have you been in contact with someone that has, you take precautions, ask many questions, because even people that are always at their house that I know of actually get it sometimes. It's insane. So live life like it's the last, but don't go too crazy. Wow, I really enjoyed these two calls. Felt like I connected with both Milena and April, but 100% more with Milena than April. But before that, I just want to thank both of them equally because it was great talking to you guys, and I want to appreciate the fact that you called me. Thank you so much. I really relate to Milena because we're both only children and we both have a super close bond with our dads. I think it's super sweet that, he got so involved with dolls when she was growing up. I mean, it's obviously meant so much to Milena because she puts her dad's enjoyment before her own embarrassment. It's different, me and my dad have a different bond, but, it's the same thing. She cares too much about him that she puts him first before anybody. And that's what I do. I also kind of related to April in the sense that she's struggling with something that, we're all struggling with right now. We're in the middle of a global pandemic and nobody really knows, how it is to live life responsibly. And there's so much uncertainty around that, you also have to remember that you have to respect people's own choices and boundaries because, it's what they're comfortable with. April has been doing the best and following all the safety guidelines, but because her best friend is a little bit more strict about socializing, she's ended up having to lie to her. And it isn't great for anybody. I mean, it sounded like, April was already, conflicted about it before, but now her situation is even more complicated because she has to hide her new boyfriend. This is a classic case of someone getting tangled up in your own lies. This is why you shouldn't lie. I mean, if she tells her best friend about her new boyfriend, then she'll have to tell her about her lying to her about it and about going out and finding new people. It's a tricky situation. And while I don't know April and I don't know what's going to happen, I do really hope that it all works out because it's clear that she loves her best friend. At least one good thing for April is that she actually was able to get a hot boyfriend out of this. After meeting on the apps, they FaceTime, talked for a while before having their first socially distant date. And I think that's great. They even they were safe. That's great for her, but I know some of my friends are playing it super safe and have just completely given up the idea of dating right now, which I'm going through that too. I don't know if I want to date right now or meet new people. And that leads me to my question of the week, which is, are you dating during COVID? Head over to my Instagram page at Lele Pons to vote on the poll in my Instagram stories. You can also vote on my Twitter page and leave me a comment with the best socially distant date idea you've heard. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. Thank you so much for listening and tune in next week for a brand new episode. Bye. Love you.
If you or someone you know are struggling emotionally, text START to 741-741 for a confidential chat anytime.
Thanks for listening to Best Kept Secrets with me, Lele Pons, only on Spotify in partnerships with Shot Studios. The Shot Studios original team includes creators John Shahidi and Sam Shahidi, my lovely producer Belinda Mercer, and audio editor Stephen Colon. From Spotify Studios, executive producers Javier Pinol, Liz Gately, Gina Delvac, and Danny Trebodge. And a special thanks to Dan Behar, Jessica Molina, Francisco Quijada, and Julio Pabon. I'm Lele. Follow me on Instagram at Lele Pons and check out my exclusive merch at lilshop.com. That is Lil Shop, Lil shop.com. Talk to you next week.